This is Helmand Province, Afghanistan.
Hey.
It's where the British Army is fighting its fiercest battles for decades. I want to know what it's like for a British soldier in combat. So I've joined my dad's old regiment, 1 Royal Anglian. I'll be with them as they fight a fearless enemy that is willing to die for its cause. I trained alongside B Company on Salisbury Plain through January and February.
At the moment, if it was real live rounds, we'd actually probably all be dead.
Since April, the men have been fighting the Taliban in the scorching heat of Helmand. It's now May, and I've arrived to join them on their next operation. Nothing prepared me for what I was about to go through on the front line of Britain's war on terror.
We've just crossed some open ground again. Every time we do, they open up.
Camp Bastion is the British Army's main base in Helmand Province. Every soldier, drop of water and ammo belt used in combat passes through these 8 square kilometres of desert. It was built 20 kilometres from the nearest town to prevent the Taliban from approaching undetected. It's a British-run base, but among the 3,500 troops are Danes, Estonians and a handful of Americans. All of them live in air-conditioned pods which keep out the intense 50-degree heat.
Well, this is going to be our home in Camp Bastion for the next 4.5 weeks. Obviously, we'll be spending a lot of time up in country, but this is where we'll come back to. This is where we'll get washed. This is where we'll eat decent, warm food. Home sweet home.
Most of the battalion are out on operations. Tomorrow I will join them on a new offensive to hit the Taliban. I've been told by the commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Carver, to attend a briefing.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. What you're about to receive is orders for Op Laste Kulang. First of all, it's an offensive operation in the area northeast of Sangin. And the wider context is an aspiration to keep the Taliban on the back foot. And the reason we want to do that is to allow reconstruction and development to get underway. And there hasn't really been much of that so far. There's been a lot of talk about it, but no actual physical, tangible results to actually display to the local people that we are actually going to provide them with something. All those people in Sangin are wavering about whether to fully support us or whether to go back to the Taliban. Okay, great. Thanks very much. See you all at 0700 tomorrow.
This operation is key to winning the hearts and minds of the local people. If it fails, the British forces will lose their support.
Well, I'm no military strategist, but I think I know what's going on. In the next couple of days, we will travel with B Company out of Camp Bastion north to Forward Operation Base Robinson and from there to Sangin. Now that journey is incredibly dangerous. B Company have already been ambushed twice taking that route. From there we'll travel northeast and wait for a day before we attack an area in the green zone known as Jupiter. That's where we're going to meet up hopefully with a guy called Haji Nika. He's a Taliban leader and they believe that he will dig in and make a fight of it.
With the orders issued, Bastion is a hive of activity. The battalion load the Viking armoured vehicles driven by the Royal Marines.
Well, you can see behind me the guys making final preparations for the convoy that leaves at around 0500 tomorrow morning. They're doing final weapon checks, loading up with fuel, ammunition, and most importantly, water. I have to say, they seem to be having quite a good time. They're kicking the football around, cracking jokes. They seem very relaxed, unlike me.
I meet up with Corporal Stefan Martin, who explains what to do if we come under attack.
Should that happen, okay, yourself and the film crew stay in the vehicle at all times, okay, and listen to the commander, which is called Kennedy. Yeah, he will brief you up.
But the vehicles are not always the safest place to be.
About a week ago, we got ambushed and an RPG hit the fuel on the top of one of those Viking vehicles.
Yeah.
Obviously, the fuel exploded and the fuels leaked into the cab through the cracks and all that. And
also through the holes where the guy's standing there with
it. Yeah, and it set people on fire inside, so everyone's had to run out under fire.
It's not what you want, is it?
No, to be honest, no.
Camp Bastion is full of stories like this. As terrible and frightening as they are, it's difficult to imagine how I'll react if I come under fire. Like most of us, I've never been in a war zone before. Should the worst happen, I need to know how to save my life and help those around me.
Hi.
So before heading out, I pick up my army trauma kit.
It's a self-pressurizing dressing. If someone's got an injury, you'd apply it on, place direct pressure. You could ask the casualty on to hold it, and all you do is just wrap it around. The only bit of kit we get is for a bit of pain relief. There's a morphine, comes in a 10 milligram ampule.
What's the plastic box
We call that a coffin.
A coffin?
Basically, yeah.
Very apt, obviously.
All you do is you'd rip it out, and you'd pull the morphine out.
Yeah.
The red end is a safety cap type thing. The yellow end is where the needle comes through.
Right.
Okay, when you use this, you pull the needle off, you apply it to a fleshy part of the body, the lower limbs, upper limbs, yeah?
Does it depend on where you've been injured, where you apply it?
If someone's had say a lower limb injury to the left leg, you'd apply that there to the upper right thigh, so that it gets around the system. Yeah, opposites.
Cheers. Thanks for the help.
That's right.
And for the drugs. Thank you.
Even the weakest jokes take my mind off what could happen.
People back home may be wondering why I'm putting my name virtually in everything that I wear, including this helmet. And then afterwards, I give myself an A+. In fact, it's the first A+ I've ever received in my life. And that's my blood group. So should I get hurt in the course of the next number of weeks, people on the ground will know what kind of blood to put back in my body.
To stay alive in the intense heat, I have to carry and drink 9 litres of water a day.
Last day Kulang is upon us. We leave tomorrow morning at 0400. In terms of how I'm feeling about going tomorrow, I'd be a liar if I said I was 100% looking forward to it. I'm pretty apprehensive about it. Some of the Royal Anglians have also been showing us footage of the contacts that they've had lately. Pretty brutal stuff, and it's obvious that the people that they're fighting here are highly organised and very good soldiers. I'm going to try and get some sleep tonight. I don't know how well I'll sleep. As I say, we leave at 0400. Hopefully I'll get a chance to speak to you tomorrow night. Good night.
Right, well, after all the anticipation, this is the hour. We're on our way, the pilot of this convoy, and we're loading up, aiming to meet up with B Company somewhere around Forward Operating Base Robinson.
We're travelling north to the A1 highway and east through Gereshk, then north through the desert to Fob Rob to meet up with B Company. With a full complement of 130 men, we will pass through Sangin and then out into the desert to lay up for the attack on the target, a reported Taliban stronghold in the village of Jusaleh.
Travelling through Gereshk now. It's the first town that I've seen while we've been in Afghanistan. Or the rest of the time we've been in military bases or, you know, the 12,000 feet. There's also a lot of children minus limbs. You see a lot of kids without legs or arms. It must be because of so many mines littered over this country, many of which were left here by the Russians. There are little booths by the road for the lorry drivers that come up and down this road, the A1, little cafes. I don't think we'll be stopping for a cup of tea though. We've just come out of Gereshk and it's on the Helmand River. It's part of the Green Zone. It's an area favoured by the Taliban. David, who's our top gunner, has said we were getting well dicked, which is military terminology for being observed. And his concern is the guys back there will either get on motorcycles, chase ahead of us, or get on mobile phones and tell their friends up the road to lay an ambush. Simon, our driver, is always trying to keep our wheels on the track that's in front of us. And hopefully that way we won't go over an IED or a landmine. There are two ranges of mountains on either side of us, and they actually meet. We've just been told this is a particularly good place for an ambush.
We've been travelling for 7 hours, and now the convoy has suddenly stopped. We have to wait for 3 hours in 50-degree heat, not knowing what's going on. Rumours are rife that there are casualties, and A Company who were travelling behind us have now caught us up. The Regimental Sergeant Major Ian Robinson, responsible for battlefield casualties, comes to tell me what's happened. It's not good news.
I don't know how much you know already.
No, we don't know very much.
We had a vehicle that was involved in a mine strike a couple of hours ago now, and unfortunately one of the boys has been killed. We're going to change tack slightly and tighten things up so there's not gaps between the call signs, and we're going to push on as normal. You know, we've still got a job to do. We've got all these boys to get to their assembly areas, their lines of departure, and that's what we're going to do. You know? Right. It's disappointing, you know. It's difficult for those blokes that are there, but unfortunately, that's the reality of what we're here doing.
These images were filmed by the soldiers of A Company. They show the damage to the Viking troop carrier after it hit the mine. Corporal Darren Bonner, a much-loved member of A Company, was the third member of the Royal Anglians to die on this tour. "9 hours out of the safety of Bastion, and we've taken our first casualty. Now A and B Company travel together. For the next 3 hours, our vehicle follows the damaged Viking. It's not lost on us that we were ahead of A Company, and we must have missed the mine by inches. The soldiers are deeply affected by the loss of Darren's life, and as we enter Fob Rob, the convoy feels more like a funeral procession. It's taken us 14 hours to travel 75 kilometers to the front line. We are all exhausted. It's been a harrowing day. Tomorrow, we must push north into enemy territory. We put the camera away and get some rest." Today, we make our journey from Fob Rob to Sangin. It's not far, but this short route has been the scene of some of the company's fiercest fighting to date.
We've just left forward operating base Robinson. It's very interesting that yesterday when we arrived there were plenty of people on the streets. Overnight, since we've arrived here, everybody's disappeared. We're now in Sangin itself. It's an extremely dangerous area. We've just passed a Viking, or the remains of a Viking that was destroyed not long ago, that belonged to 7th Platoon. Guys are really on their guard now. We really are in the territory of the enemy. We've just entered the main part of Sangin town. We're on our way to Sangin DC, which is the military base there. A kilometre around the Sangin base is totally destroyed. It's rubble. Thousands upon thousands of pounds of high explosives have been dropped on it. It's a very, very dangerous route that we're taking right now, trying to get there.
As we near Sangin district centre, I remember the scenes on TV in July 2006 when 3 para battle group were surrounded by the Taliban. Outnumbered and on the verge of being overrun, the soldiers had to call in repeated airstrikes at great risk to themselves to keep the Taliban at bay. They renamed it the Alamo. Our stop in Sangin gives myself and the men a chance to cool off in the oppressive 50-degree heat. This is the first wash some of these men have had in 4 weeks. I grabbed the chance to speak to Private Tony Purcell. I want to know how he feels about Operation Last Day Kool-Aid.
You're about to go into probably the biggest contact the Royal Anglians will have on this tour. How are you feeling? Are you nervous?
The little part of me is a little bit nervous, but I'm very excited as well. You know, I want more of it. It's like a buzz. You know, you fucking get a little bit of it and then you want some more. But obviously, at the time, when you're actually getting shot and when rounds are coming down, you're thinking, shit, what am I doing? What's going on? I'm in this fucking, what the hell did I do this for?
So do you think you've changed since you've been out here?
I think when I get back home, I'm going to change like what I do, because being out here and realising that any day could be your day. Any one of them bullets could have your fucking name written down it. You know, I think I'm going to change when I get back home. I think to myself, like, I'm going to spend more time with my kids, more time with my family, you know, do more things and live life a little bit better. But I think that's all part of being out here. That's what being out here does to you.
After final preparations, we leave Sangin. We're ordered to lay up in the hills above Jusilei before making a dawn attack. Even though the Taliban know roughly where we are, we don't want to give away our exact position, so all lights and fires are forbidden and noise must be kept to an absolute minimum.
We're out in the desert, some 5 clicks from Sangin. We're in a sort of wagon train circle. The fire support group, the FSG, are using night vision to make sure we can't be attacked or mortared. I tell you what, it is weird. It's like you may have seen movies of, you know, Shakespeare, Henry V, where they're by their campfires waiting before the battle. And, you know, what we're doing, or what these guys are doing, is like, it's time memorial, you know. Through the centuries, men have sat around campfires, or in this case, sat around their wagons, waiting to go to war the next day. You can hear them chatting, and they're all grouped together in little huddles, joking, some of them, you know,
false bon ami, some of it genuine. And I have to say also, the desert's incredible. I mean, the sky, the canopy above us is stunning. Yeah, it's just a really mixed, real mixed emotions. Yeah, it's quite beautiful in many ways. Well, this is it. We're just about to enter Jusilei. Place is surrounded by poppy fields. Just over the next hill is the green zone. We've seen it on our approach. No doubt the enemy have seen us because they've kicked up a massive sandstorm.
Major Mick Aston is in command of the attack. He's told me to join him as we move down into Jusilei. We must keep 20 feet from the next man so we don't bunch up and present a large target to the Taliban.
We're right on the edge of the green zone now. We've walked for around about a kilometre. The armoured vehicles can't go into the green zone for various reasons. I think it's too boggy, too soft. So we have to go in on foot now. You can tell the lads, the ante's been ramped up. So let's see what it's like in the green zone. They certainly know we're coming. We've made enough fucking noise and dust, haven't we? I think that's the idea that they want us to know.
Once we get a little bit further into it, so it'll kick off. Maybe they want us to fucking... They'll attack us when we're on their ground.
Yeah, come on, let's go.
We're just about to enter the green zone, a strip of irrigated land on the banks of the Helmand River where the poppies are grown and most people live and work. We know the Taliban are waiting for us. There are trenches and irrigation ditches. It's a perfect place for an ambush.
One of the things the soldiers have just said to us is the fact that there's no one around. Normally this place would be full of children playing, adults working. It's completely empty, which leads them to suspect that the Taliban have come in here and told them to clear out because they're going to have a contact with us.
We didn't have to wait long.
Fucking hell.
Can you see me?
No.
James, can you record this?
I am.
Do you know, we've just been at ambush, we're in open ground as well. Fucking getting bullets whizzing over the top of us. Fuck me. Get your fucking head down! Just had a bullet whiz over my head. Fuck. The rounds are getting more accurate. I can feel the air move as they pass inches from my head. B Company return fire, but this just makes them launch more rocket-propelled grenades. What do we do? Do you stay here, yeah?
Stay with me, yeah? Fire RPG.
You fire an RPG, stay where we are, yeah?
Yes. Where's over your head?
Yeah.
Mick! Right, you need to get into some cover there.
Right, should we crawl over to you, yeah?
Mick,
Crawl, yeah? Okay, we've just been hit. We're in the open. Oh, you fucker. We're in the open. We're exposed. Camera, sound, and myself. 2 RPGs went over our head, apparently only about a couple of feet above us. You can feel the whoosh. You hear them cutting the air before they go over you, then you hear the explosion behind you. Then a number of AK rounds went over on a consistent burst. I've never hugged the ground ever in my life. You hear about it in fucking books, and you may see it in the movies, but the real thing is very, very fucking different. It's still kicking off now, but we were the ones that were exposed.
Fucking hell.
What'd they get? Let's get him. What's that?
They're getting closer.
They're getting closer.
Artillery is called in to hit the Taliban positions.
Go on, fuck him up.
Yes!
Is it one of those?
Fucking get some. Come on, let's go. Let's go.
It gives us a chance to find cover.
Security that way.
We reach the safety of a ditch. Behind me, Sergeant Ben Browning orders his men to protect the flanks.
2 engineers, Dusty and Stub over there.
Because of the contact that basically we were in the middle of, in the open ground when it happened, silly boys. They've called in a couple of artillery shells. It hasn't stopped them firing. Apparently they're only 100 metres away or so on the other side of this. So they're going to call in some attack helicopters or some fast air, I think.
Here
it comes. We can hear the fast air on its way. Hopefully it's going to drop some very large shrapnel on top of the people that just tried to kill us.
Because they're in a mosque, no bombs are dropped.
They're mosques. The mosque to your front, and that's where they're fucking firing from.
From the mosque.
Yeah, just keep
What's happened frequently is they know how unproblematic it would be for us to fire upon a mosque, so that's where they hold up. I personally don't want to bomb a mosque or I want to bomb a church. Having said that, I don't think it's fair that they should use that as a defensive position, particularly when they've fired 5 RPGs at me.
Having drawn out the enemy, B Company now go on the offensive. But we now face a new threat. A sniper is trying to pick us off. No one knows where the next round will come from. To get closer to the enemy, we have to cross open ground and risk being shot.
To clear the compound in objective 3. Ready, start.
Ready?
Go!
Just cross some open ground again. Every time we do, they open up. He's going to the gym, that's for sure.
2 back, get forward. Get forward with the 2 in there so you can identify that sniper.
We're just about to move off with the OC. Go.
I keep my head down and run faster than I have in a long time. We're exposed and need cover. Mick orders his men to break into the compound to see if they can use the roof as a firing position. I stick as close as possible.
That's the attack helicopter engaging just over there. Oh, mate. There you go.
I asked Mick if he's located the enemy. He has, and he's directing 6th Platoon onto the Taliban positions.
There's a ditch that will take you down to that RPG firing point. You're in a position to assault that.
Be aware of the forward line.
Come up, Mick, get yourself up on the roof and have a look. Get over there, get eyes on that. You'll see the splash of the targets. Get all the way up. 1-0 Alpha, 0 Alpha. You're good to get moving. Just be aware that we've got the Apache firing a hellfire into that compound in front of you as you move in, over.
Sir?
What's that? That's fucking it.
That was an RPG, just flew right over our heads. Fuck me, that was so low.
the RPG lands behind us. It gives away the Taliban's position. The soldiers return fire with all they have.
Was that close, mate? It's like a right for our fucking heads. It was like a bowling ball.
An Apache is called in to engage the Taliban compound.
I've had some surreal mornings in my life, but this is up there, I have to say.
The natural response is relief when the person trying to kill us is themselves killed.
The Hellfire has just landed in the compound over there.
Hey, RPG going dead!
RPG, the RPG guy that just tried to launch one in here, sniper, just next to me, has just got him. Killed him.
Mick orders his unit to take ground closer to the enemy's position. But just as we're leaving the compound, the Taliban is seen moving across the field to our right.
Out. Go up to the building. Watch yourself.
We move off. Once again, we're exposed to the enemy, and we don't have to wait long for them to find us.
Some fire going over there. Get down, get down. It's coming in now, it's coming in for cover.
Let's get behind that wall. Keep going. Run low. Get behind the wall. Look at me. Look at me. Yeah. On the wall.
It's now two-way range. Originally they clicked off, we thought it was incoming. We're getting to understand now, we know when it's aimed at us and when it's not. It's two-way range, it's AK and that's 5.56. Oh, and that's heavy. That's mortar, ground shook. And it's hot, in both senses of the word.
I'm exhausted. We push on, passing enemy positions fired on by the Apache.
Look how that wall is just made out of mud basically and straw packed it together. That's 30 cal from the Apache helicopter and it's not even penetrated it. It's amazing, isn't it? Go through armour, but it won't go through mud and straw.
After 6 hours, the Taliban have been forced north and we're called in for a rest.
I don't know, just left or right. Just 6 hours.
We had a very fucking lively one this morning, mate. Yeah, we had that 7-hour RPGs just about fucking. We got in the open ground. I think we stood out really badly with the blue. And so that's when they opened up the attack.
Claiming that.
Yeah, it fucking makes you feel glad to be alive. That's for fucking sure.
I'm not the only one to experience war for the first time. 18-year-old Private Monks arrived in Afghanistan at the same time I did.
So Monks, your first contact, what was it like for you?
It's very scary.
Same for me, mate.
Yeah, I had my mate Chris, who was running across the field in front of me. He had an RPG come just over his head. Just his helmet off, he nearly fell over. That was scary. Rounds coming down at my feet. Just back around the building.
I think that's one of the. It's one of the Taliban bunkers being blown up, but it was close enough to make us both jump. Getting used to it, mate. Yeah.
After an hour's rest, we move out and walk for another 4 hours, with no contact. It seems the battle is over for the time being. We have no idea where the Taliban have repositioned, and tomorrow promises to be another hard day. The Taliban have retreated from the village of Jusaleh, but nobody knows exactly where they are. I'm with the fire support group. FSG for short, on the ridge overlooking Jusaleh. They tell me they've spotted the Taliban.
Roger, that is the cave entrance. That's where we've had enemy moving in and out of. They hear the guns fire, they retreat back into there. What we'd like to do is post some sort of ordnance through there, or put a delayed fuse down in and around that grid. 10 seconds, so we'll give them a bit of a shock.
The Taliban have been seen at the entrance to a cave system some 3 kilometers away on the other side of the valley. They call in an airstrike.
Stores. A splash.
Movement was spotted after the bomb exploded, and another 1,000-pound bomb is dropped.
Roger, you are clear for a re-attack on similar bunk system, same nature, with a 10 millisecond delay. Bombs in.
Whoa.
See you later. A splash, stand by for BD8.
The only survivors were a herd of goats.
Right, you okay? You okay?
Later that afternoon, 4 children are brought in by their parents. They were injured in the previous day's fighting in Jusaleh. They don't make a sound as B Company's doctor treats their wounds. Their identities have to be hidden. If the Taliban discovered they were receiving medical aid from British troops, they would be punished. We give them biscuits and sweets, but before they return to their homes, they have to remove the wrappers, so the Taliban can't identify them as gifts from British forces. The most seriously injured are taken to Camp Bastion. A group of Afghan men have approached our position. They ask for a shura, a meeting with the highest ranking officer present. With B Company's commanding officer Major Mick Aston in Jusaleh, it falls to second in command Captain David Robinson to meet with them. No one knows what they want to talk about. After a tense hour, the shura ends. I'm interested to know what was said.
Hi Dave, can you talk to us?
Yeah.
What went on, mate?
They came down. Locals wanted to find out about the bombing on the other side of the valley. They're quite concerned because even though we definitely identified Taliban in that re-entrant, there may have been some civilians hiding in caves, and they want to go and look. I'm more than happy that everyone we engaged had weapons, but they're going across there now to have a look.
Oh, right, and they want to make sure that they can go in there without being perceived as being Taliban.
Yeah, they're all very friendly and they're very practical about the whole thing. They're just a bit concerned. They know that there were Taliban there. They just want to make sure that the people who are up there, anyone who we killed, gets buried properly.
So they weren't trying to say that that the artillery had hit civilians that were hiding in the caves.
No, not at all. They were just concerned in case it had.
Right.
Yeah.
But they don't know yet. Obviously, they're going to go and check it out.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
After visiting the caves, the Afghans didn't report any civilian casualties. We head down into the green zone to meet up with Mick and the rest of B Company. It appears that the Taliban have gone and the locals are reclaiming their village. But we're still vulnerable. We're told that a counterattack could happen at any time. B Company, stay alert. I get my first opportunity to talk with the locals.
What would you ask him what he would like to see done? What would he like to see done?
وطن مو را ټوک ټوک خلک مو را مړه کړل بدسرانو مو را ونړول موږ اوس پر تاسو راټولې تاسو ته ولاړ یو ستاسو د لاسه موږ ته څه ورسېدل
Does not think one of the reasons for that is because the Taliban can come in and come out of this village?
ولې نه لرو والي مو خراب دي دا رود د دې خورات دغه دي چې رود مو وړي دا اوس د ازمر منطقه چې د ټول د رود په خله کې ده زموږ مشکلات خو نه دا غږ او موږ شفاخانه نه لرو زموږ په کورو کې اوس مریضان ستا دوا وې نسته.
I understand that, but does he not understand that before you can have a doctor and a teacher, you have to remove the people that don't want doctors and teachers here, which are the Taliban. They don't want doctors here, and they don't want teachers. They don't want people to be taught, do they? And is it not true that if a teacher came in here and there were no forces around, the teacher would be killed?
هغه خو نو مو زور ستاسو دی قوت ستاسو دی تیار او ټانک ستاسو د امنیت راوستلو نه راوستل هغه خو په تساړه لري هغه مسؤلیت خو مشته نه دی خو ستاسو دی هغه خو نو مشته نو څنګه په دې کې زموږ څه پښتنه کوي هغه کار په تساړه لري نو.
Can't be one person's job. It must be a two-handed thing. They must work with ISAF. They must help ISAF, and therefore ISAF will help them back. I mean, it takes a long time, because you understand, you can't magic it. It has to take time, and the Taliban have to be removed in order for doctors to feel safe to come in here, and for the people to feel safe to be able to go to schools. Is that not true?
Obviously, the battle to win hearts and minds is not going to be an easy one. I have sympathy for this man and his family who have to live in a war zone, but I'm also painfully aware of the sacrifices the Anglians have made fighting the Taliban. No one knows when the next attack may start, so we all take the opportunity to rest. We're up early. Most fighting in Afghanistan is done before the midday sun. We attach ourselves to the fire support group and head back up onto the ridge. As we arrive, we notice a group of Afghans being escorted by soldiers. They're put in an armoured personnel carrier and brought up the hillside.
Behind me are some 5 detainees. They were captured in the latest operation. They were passed back to Tim Newton, the company sergeant major who interviewed them. He had suspicions, so he's called into the regimental sergeant major, Ian Robertson. He's now turned up. The detainees are being questioned. They're being searched. They've been placed in the shade, given water. If he feels they're genuinely not Taliban, they're just normal farmers who are in the wrong place at the wrong time, they'll be sent back into the village. However, if he has strong suspicions that they are Taliban, then they'll be sent back to Bastion for further questioning.
Ian, can you tell me the outcome of the questioning?
The answers they've given us so far lead us to believe that they should answer a few more questions, really. So we're going to take them back to our location, which is further back from their home, which will hopefully sort of get the message across to them that we're serious. We'll then sit them down, ask them some more questions, and hopefully the answers they give us will sort of relieve our fears that they may be Taliban.
It was later discovered that the men were not Taliban and they were released and given compensation. I'm discovering that war is made up of moments of intense terror and long periods of boredom and inactivity. But right now, inactivity is welcome, as it gives me time to recover and make sense of the past few days.
Operation Lashte Kulang is nearly over. I have to say it's been the most exhausting thing that I've ever tried to cover or attempt to film. I think the crew would vouch for that as well. Most of the guys on the ground who've been fighting say it's the toughest thing they've ever had to do. I'm deaf in one ear, I've got an ear infection, I've got pus running out between my feet, they're cracked and infected. But that pales into insignificance in terms of the people that have seriously been hurt in this operation and people who have been killed. I believe it's been a success in terms of what ISAF wanted to happen and what the British forces set out to achieve. It's certainly been tough on everybody. I hope good comes from it. One of the things that worries me is that we're only halfway through our time here, and I am absolutely exhausted.
I return to Camp Bastion. In just a few days, B Company will launch their next operation. They're being sent to defend an isolated base located in the middle of Taliban territory. It's where one Royal Anglian lost their first man, and where I find out exactly what the lads think about the war in Afghanistan.